In my Seesaw training, I had 8 primary teachers present. Many of these teachers have been teaching for many years, but Seesaw is a new tool for them to use. We were all socially distanced according to the HCS guidelines. I emailed the teachers the link to the website that morning so that they could follow along on the website if they wanted. We began our session with 2 quotes. After talking through the 2 quotes, I gave a quick overview of what we would be doing in the training and also discussed how the website was laid out for them to use for future reference. Under the Need to Know tab, we discussed the importance of having the app downloaded on student iPads and how to download the app from the self-service portal on student devices. Without the app, many of the Seesaw functions will not work properly when opened through Clever or Safari. As we continue down the list of Need to Know information, we looked at the chart of shortcuts that are needed for adding icons to directions for students. This is especially important for primary students. We discussed the microphone on Seesaw and different ways to use it. I gave an example of how my students used the microphone the day before. My students were working on creating a tally chart on their whiteboard. I had students to take a picture of their whiteboard on Seesaw and then use the microphone to record their interpretation of the data in the chart. This allowed my students to share their thinking with me without me going to each student to listen to them individually. I was able to listen to each student later and assess their understanding of the information when looking through student work. To conclude this portion of the training, we discussed the proper settings that should be allowed on student and teacher devices for Seesaw to work properly. Following the Need to Know information, I demonstrated how to find activities in the Seesaw Activity Library. We began looking at the different tabs at the top of the Activity Library page. We discussed the difference in the tabs: My Library, School and District, and Community Library. All Seesaw activities created are in the Community tab. These activities are from people everywhere who use Seesaw. The activities in the School and District tab are from the teachers in Horry County and at PD Elementary. All activities that I have hearted or created will be in my library. We also discussed that if you are looking for a specific type of activity, you will use the search bar in the top and the drop-down menus to find activities that fit your specific wants and needs. Many of the teachers in the training have never created an activity in Seesaw before. I first showed how to edit an activity, and then we as a group created an activity from scratch. For this activity, we created a word family sort. This activity is good for all students in the primary grades. As a group, we created our directions and talked through how to use the shortcuts presented earlier in the training to add the icons in the directions. Everyone talking through the directions allowed each person to think about what they would want their children to do next and how they would need to word it for their young students. After we completed the directions, we began creating our template for student responses. We went to the drawing section and began adding text boxes with our word family titles and the words that we wanted our students to sort. We created the at family and the it family. We gave students 6 words to sort. After creating the text boxes, I showed how to resize a text box. I also showed how to duplicate a text box, as well as change the color and format of the box. We then added another 2 boxes for the students to sort their words into, and then we saved the activity. For assessment, teachers shared their screens with a nearby colleague and shared the activity with me so that I could also see their work. After creating our activity, I showed the group how to assign activities to students. We looked at how to assign activities to specific students, schedule activities to be sent at certain times, and how to add an activity to a folder. To review student work, I demonstrated how to review student work 1 activity at a time, 1 student at a time, and also how to find the activity in its folder to see which students have completed the activity and which have not. During asynchronous learning this year, students are given many assignments, and making sure to keep track with each student's work is important. This work counts for student attendance this year. To conclude the presentation, I thanked everyone for coming and participating. I then emailed them the Google form so that I could get feedback on the training and how I could improve in the future.